Hi, ladies. Here we are, Mom Proof. We're
Hello.
back. We're back.
Mom proofing.
Hey,
We
Sandra
are mom
and Jamie.
Yes, Kathleen.
We should make that
Sandra.
a verb.
Mom proofing. It's
Yeah.
like staying bothered.
Yeah.
It's
It
definitely
is proofing.
It's action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in constant motion. We're constantly changing.
Well, that's why we always get so burned out, man. That's why I feel like
Parenting.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Do you get burned out parenting?
Yes. Yes, I was going to say I'm not sure, but then I just thought about my life for a second. Like, yeah, the second one is really teaching me a new thing about parenting. It's really hard work.
Wow, I just had a light bulb go off. I was thinking about when the time that I was the most burnt out parenting was when I had every weekend that I couldn't sleep because a teenager was out. I couldn't, I remember the first few weekends after my last one was gone. And even though I still worried, she was not in the house and I could actually sleep.
Girl, you know what? How about the flip side of that, though? How about when they're all under your roof and you go, oh my God, I can sleep.
Yes,
Do you know that
too.
Okay.
That too.
And it's not going to happen as much when they're older, they have their own kids. But when they're gone to college and they've come back just for a short visit, not like to come back to stay or anything, and they're under the roof like they will be for this holiday season, I will literally be conscious of that and be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go.
Yeah.
So at least they're just staying temporarily, though.
Right. We can talk about when kids come back.
For good.
Boomerang.
Boomerang.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
But what about your burnout? Like,
Okay,
let's go back to that.
Okay, we're gonna boomerang back to the burnout.
Parents are feeling burnt out these days. It's hard. What can we share that we've been through and have either paid good money for the therapy to get us through it with others, or what we talk about our friends, experts, and other parents with. So,
I mean, I think I get burned out with Sophia because she gets so upset about everything and she doesn't take the time to stop and breathe and process, right? So on some days, she will call me 15 times.
Literally?
To like vent about things that are happening because she can't, and I have to just say, you need to stop, you need to breathe before you even start dialing the number because I'm getting burned out. Because it's just so much.
You're
and
absorbing,
it's so overwhelming.
Right? Yeah. From a sounding board to an absorption to a sponge.
Isn't it interesting? Let's hold on that for a split second because I remember there was a time one of the kids was doing something similar, but they were just going through so much, one of my kids, and they were actually it was in college and he was calling all the time. But there was always crisis, something happening. And you tend to take that on 100%. As a parent. And sometimes, and I do this differently now, I don't have it down all the way, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes if we take that minute, parents, and just breathe and step to the side and say, all right, I'm going to have to get back with you in a minute. Oh. And I know you do that with her also, but I remember that feeling of having to work through this. Like, this is killing me. I'm worried every day, all day. You just take it on as a parent. And we as parents do that more than we should.
Yes.
Because it's so hard not to. But
we want to fix
it. We want to fix it.
We want to fix. And then, so they're calling you because they're like basically telling you, fix it. I can't do this.
You hear the mom brain.
And that's when I'm like, no, you need to stop. You need to breathe. You need to try and come up with a solution and then call me back and we'll walk through what solutions you've come up with. And then at one point I just have to say, please don't call me back unless something's burning down. And
That's a good boundary, though.
Just please.
Unless there's a fire.
Yes. I'm at my limit. Yeah. Like total burnout.
100%. And you're doing
Sorry, I forgot to mention.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of burnout, we're going to burn out of these because everyone's buying them.
So what do you do then? Let's give some points on what we can do.
I think it's like somehow getting them, and you're probably have great advice on this. How do we get them to go back to for them to take the process and walk through their thoughts or calm themselves down?
Yeah, that's all practice.
Wait, what if we just take a day to ourselves? Because then we refuel. Like, I can handle anything.
Yep.
Anything.
Yep.
But I can't do it if I'm so wound up with information. I have to say, okay, if someone's calling or there's a shitload of things going on that are like a meteor shower at me.
Yes, of course.
It's good for a parent to take a day and stop
100%.
and go and do something.
But think of a college kid, right? So they don't even have a day, right? I mean, we know they do. They don't. Yeah. But I think one of the things I saw this on Mel Robbins again today. We'll shout out for her because she's amazing. But and I just did this with a college kid the other day in a session, and it was reminding them what's in your control and what's not in your control. Remember that one? We've talked about that before. So that may be something also to leave them with. And I'm not saying this hasn't happened to me. So I know we're talking about an example with your daughter, but know that it's, I think, a very normal thing for us to experience our kids like leeching onto us for some quick solution.
Right.
Because they can't handle the frustration tolerance and they're feeling like they're going to jump out of their skin. Obviously breathing. I love how you said, like, wait, don't even call me back until you have like 2 or 3 ideas or whatever. I love that. And I love saying what's in your control and what's out of your control. And then finally, is there a way to actually write it down? Like, stop for a second, use your phone, whatever they use. It's got to get out of their body and out of their brain, right? Remember that?
Absolutely. And experts say journaling is the number one release for tension, stress in adults.
And
if kids did more of that.
Can you imagine?
And look, we're dealing with adult children.
Yeah.
I mean.
But I love how you mentioned the boundaries. I mean, we were talking about like today, what do we want our listeners and our viewers to remember is whether they're home for the weeks for holidays or they're coming back as a boomerang kid, which we can talk about in a minute, the boundaries help us with our own burnout. If we don't have boundaries in place, our kids can't come home, like we said in the last episode, and have the frat house mentality. Like,
exactly.
Come into our space. We've spent time and energy creating a space that is calming. We've learned how to relax and breathe, take a minute, do some yoga, whatever we do, right? Hopefully we're modeling that even when they come home for the holidays. We're not getting shit-faced and it's a party. Let's keep our boundaries in place.
I don't know. It's a
and
holidays.
Have those holidays.
It's the holidays. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna party.
And have those conversations before they come.
Ooh, how about that? Oh my gosh, we don't have much time.
Yeah,
right. Hurry.
And by the way, it's okay to put it in a text.
Yes,
parents,
it's
okay to put it in a text. If that's how your kids communicate,
that's right.
It's okay to say, "Hey, can't wait to see you. Top 5 rules."
Yes, I love it, Jamie. I love that. Did that answer though? I mean, y'all think like just thinking about that control issue that we can remind them?
I like suggesting, call me back when you have a couple of ideas for solutions.
Yep.
I'm right here for you. We'll walk through it.
Right.
And I feel like, and I know you do too. I just love her. I've watching her grow.
Oh yeah,
I feel like she's doing that. The more you have been so much a part of that sounding board for her, even though she is emotional. And that's okay. This goes back to how different our kids are.
Oh my gosh, right?
From us, right? They are just different. Yeah.
The 2? She's the 2 on the Enneagram?
Yes.
Goodness gracious, that is all emotion. I'm a 3. 2's my wing, man. 2's my wing. She's my wing.
So
girl.
how great that you're able to be there for her, listen, and offer those solutions and opportunities for her to actually solve a situation on her own.
But can you picture if Sandra...
Some parents are like, okay, try this, do this, do that.
And I was going to say, what if Sandra was that?
Exactly. That's what you don't want to do.
Fire burning, flaming.
No, I want her to be able to go out and problem solve on her own and, take these steps or learn how to do these things because it's not innate for everybody. It's like some people are... have to figure things out by themselves. But if we could just give our kids some tools to be able to start to process things.
The toolbox.
Yeah.
Go to our website.
Get the toolbox.
Yeah, you need to look at momproof.com.
Yeah.
Momproof. I think it's a past tense on that one. Yeah. Should be proofing.
We've been proofed. Mom-proof.
But y'all think okay, so I don't think... Well, Jamie, you may have had this. What if they come home and it's not just for the holidays or the summer break or whatever breaks? Because we have college kids right now and most of us are almost empty nesting. But what do you do if they come back and they need to come back for longer?
It's
and then the
in-between.
Boomerang.
I call it the in-between. It's not, they're not moving back in. In my situation, a few have come back. They don't want to come back. It's cheaper to come back home.
Sure.
And I think setting the boundaries right up front is really important. Do they pay rent? I mean, a lot of parents have to deal with this.
Yes.
If your kids come back, are you going to make them pay rent?
Well, just so they get some skin in the game, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what else? I mean, do you have some thoughts on like what are some things that worked for you or didn't work, or did it feel like it just depends on the kid? Like we said, one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
Well, I will say, in my experience, you have to continue to remind them to do chores, taking out the trash, doing it's a constant, and it's probably more me than them.
Well,
I think it's muscle memory. Hey, can you get the trash before you go out? Now, they're going to get the trash eventually, but they're not going to do it on my time. And especially as they're older, it's like, oh.
Right. They'll just do it. Yeah. Do you feel like, do you all have experience at all with, and probably Jamie on this, right? Because she's a little ahead of us on some of this, but that you have felt guilty or that you didn't do enough and that's why they had a boomerang back, or, and I know you haven't used the word boomerang, you just said the in-between, but like, is there a part of you that had a struggle with, oh, they didn't launch well, or they didn't launch the way the other kid launched?
No.
Or, yeah, I know, right?
No,
that's what I'm saying.
That's thousands of dollars of therapy, though. I think a lot of parents do have that guilt. Oh no, what could I have done different for them to be different?
Yeah.
You have to accept who they are right now.
Love them anyway.
Love them anyway.
It
really is the truth, and I believe that. And
so you weren't a martyr. You did not fall into martyrdom for any of these kids.
Let me spend as much time with my kids as I can because I wasn't there enough earlier, or I didn't do something. No, you have to go forward. It's forward. Yeah, and accept your kids for who they are.
Yep. And accept yourself for who you were then.
Some don't go to school. Some want to do things that surprise the hell out of you. You say, what? You want to do what? That wasn't what I thought.
That's cool.
But you got to be okay with that.
No, I think that's true. But like also like kids that come back, I'm just thinking like, let's say that they left school because they didn't want to finish.
Okay.
And then they come back. And then at what point do you say, okay, I understand that that's your decision and I'm here to support you. But you have to give, I think, time limits, in my opinion, of what's your second step here? Are you going to go find a job?
Oh, yeah. I'd like to see a whole timeline.
Exactly. Are you going to go back to school? What are you going to do?
School for something, whatever it might be. Yes, welding, whatever.
Because if you don't, then do you just let them sit in limbo? And for how long?
I'll say, parents don't want your kids to come back.
No.
Don't. I was grateful that I had mine a couple times at different time periods. I knew it was for short. But look, I was single. I was dating or I had a boyfriend. I mean, come on, you're cramping my style. I need you to go. So you have to be able to say, are we talking a month or two here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and think about, like Sandra just said, that's a good point. Or did Jamie just say this? That's my early onset of something. I don't know what that is.
We all have it.
They don't want to come back. I mean, believe me, they want out of most kids that are on the track of normal developmental stages.
Right.
By the time they're 18, even though there's 4 to 6 more years of that brain growth that we need and that prefrontal cortex where there's actually thinking that's going to happen. It's so weird. But they're ready. Emotionally, they're ready to separate from us, right? We know that. But it's so interesting to see if they can really accept the challenge of all those things, whether we're talking about finding their apartments or their homes for the next semester, or they didn't pass a test. Do they need to talk to the professor? How do you do that? My fob, this is recent. My fob isn't working, but my car will start. Well, did you replace the battery in the fob? No, I think I just need to have the car towed. Okay. Also, something is burning right now.
That's like I know.
Okay, sorry.
My bank account is not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's so interesting to see.
My bank account has zeros.
Right.
My card's not working. Do you have money in your account?
Absolutely. So I'm just curious if y'all think that sometimes, even though we're launching them, they may not be ready.
Okay, let's go back to the scientific fact that the frontal lobes are not completely together.
No, it's one lobe.
Right.
It's
right,
one. Okay,
right.
yeah, it just has to have all these synapses to make
but it's not completely formed for the decision making. The executive
functioning
is not there. I think a lot of parents don't realize that unless you know about science and or you've been to therapy.
Goodness gracious.
Kids,
I hope
particularly boys, are still dumb. So they're like 23.
I know,
I'm
least.
I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
Some even a little longer.
But do you think when you say, let them suffer consequences, do they learn faster?
That is a good research project. We should contact UT and see if they want to do this with us.
Yeah, but I was just thinking because, recently we had an incident where Sophia had been home for the summer. I had booked her all her doctor's appointments, but she decided not to go because she was busy. So when she left,
how many late fees is that? Go ahead.
Well, but when she left for college or for her second year, I said to her, I am not booking your appointments, and you have to take care of these things. I didn't micromanage the situation.
Nice.
So then now she's had a couple of problems with her mouth, and she had to go to the dentist.
Ooh.
And anyway, she had to have like a really deep cleaning, and it was like she was very dramatic about everything. Sorry, Sophia. But I asked her, I said, will you ever forget to get your dentist appointments done? She goes, I will never forget. That's what she said.
Okay, there you go.
That's a good natural consequence, though, because who doesn't? First of all, does any of y'all like to get your teeth cleaned?
No.
You do?
No.
You seemed indifferent because I hate it, right?
I kind of like it.
I do. I mean, after I'm like,
okay, after.
But okay, I do just want to say that I've never had a root canal, and I don't have. So
I've never had a root canal. No,
Okay.
have you had a root?
No.
Okay.
Okay. My ex he took such perfect care of his teeth, and he had a million problems. And I would be like, well, I don't even floss. And look at that. No cavities here. It's just good genetics.
That's
but
good.
Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, there you go.
So to answer your question.
But I just feel like some of the consequences, like we do think of that. And there's been some things in our home where we've had some opportunity to allow some consequences to be natural that could have been pretty bad. And so I think there are moments where you intervene before legal things occur. Okay, I just wanted to put that out there into the universe.
No, of course. But I was just thinking when you were talking about that, like, do they learn because they had something happen or like going to the dentist?
Sure. But that's a beautiful, it's very, well, I guess that's called a natural consequence, right? And the natural consequences are the ones that supposedly stick more. So you want to punish around the natural things. So like you mentioned recently that your son had been in trouble at school.
Yeah.
And so did they consequence him? He had messed around with a water fountain.
Yeah.
So what was his, just curious.
He got a warning.
Okay.
Because he'd never been in trouble. But then I guess the boys at school, they want to get in trouble. I don't know.
It's like a badge of honor.
Yes. And so I said, don't make this a habit, and be respectful, because even if you don't get in trouble in school, you are going to get in trouble at home.
I love that.
Because I don't want you to disrespect teachers.
But think about how hard it would be to because here's where I'm going up with this. It's hard to find consequences that fit the crime, if you will. So
it has to be appropriate.
I know. So if
really
my son
does.
was speeding and he got the ticket, and then there was courts, that was good. There was natural consequences. There was fines. There was an in-person class. Or but think of that one. Like he comes home, he's been disrespectful to a teacher. So what would the natural consequence be? I don't think
up to you.
I know I was going to say, but I'm curious. Let's generate a couple ideas for parents.
You would sit the kid down. I would definitely sit my son down and say, hey, listen, this is not the way it's going to work. Let's talk about it.
That's right.
And I think we have gotten away from that a little bit in parenting today. Parents are softer.
Well, then
let's talk. How do you feel?
We're going to take away the phone for that? I don't know. So here's where I'm going with it. Shouldn't there be some kind of consequence that ties to going back to that teacher and potentially having a conversation, apologizing, doing something?
In this case,
because he
didn't really do anything.
Well, no, not on yours.
But if it was something like if he said something to a teacher, then I would definitely make him write an apology.
Right, maybe say
that he's sorry. Yeah. I would definitely do that.
I think kids need to feel that uncomfortable feeling.
They do.
And I had
tough conversations that you have to have sometimes.
You do. That's exactly right. Yes.
What were you going to say?
There was an example of one of the kids saying something very rude to another mom.
Ooh.
And it was
tough.
And I caught wind of it. So I didn't hear it.
Right.
I heard about it.
Enough and you knew it was true. Yes.
So we made him go to the parent's house, go to the mom's house, knock on the door, face her, say he was sorry. And it was all uncomfortable. You know that feeling?
Oh, yeah. You're nervous and
I'm
anxious.
in trouble. And those things are important because that's life.
So true.
So,
and how about with having it with your own kids or your own partners? Those uncomfortable,
those tough
conversations, crucial conversations, great books about that if you want to read up about that. And we have a book we want to share before we forget. We'll post it on our website that you found. You remember the title of that? Because that was really good.
See, it went back to good old parenting. How different cultures parent in different situations.
And I want to share it because, Sandra, I thought it was a really awesome book, and I haven't finished it. But remember, okay, I'm going to tell the people.
I'm going to tell the people.
Hunt, Gather, Parents. This is such a cute name. It's popping up on my phone, y'all, if you're waiting. Hunt, Gather, Parents by Michael, and I'm going to kill it, Duclef, PhD. We will post it, but it's all about how different cultures can teach and the art of raising happy kids.
Yes. And they actually go to like a Mayan village and see how they parent. And the whole concept is, again, different parenting in different situations, different environments. But at the end of the day, it all kind of boils down to the essentials, right? The main things that we need to do.
Right, like we have expectations, we set some boundaries. If they violate them, there's consequences. And those are all hard. It's so interesting when I'm working with parents of younger teens, not so much with these college-age kiddos, but like in that 15 to 17-year-old range. And a parent, would I say like, well, tell me some of your family like non-negotiables or your family guidelines or whatever. And they'll be like, well, and we've talked about this. Those have to be so clear. Not that they can't morph, right? They morph.
Right.
But it's just interesting to have tough conversations. And it's really hard, I think, with our peers. Like, think about having it with each other. If we had to, like, say something to each other, like, Sandra, I'm going to have to tell y'all. I don't know what it would be right now.
It would be something. We could come up with something.
Right.
The time
I don't know. But
I think a good example of that with teens are when kids are allowed to have the opposite sex in their bedroom.
Ooh, that's a toughie.
We had back and forth with that through the years.
We're dealing with that right now.
Discussions.
Yeah.
It's difficult, and I think
that is. Why is it different for the boys, though, than the girls? Like, I feel like we've gotten a lot more lax.
I think it should be.
Well, I know. It's happening in our home. A little more lax on the boy end.
Yeah, you know what? I think each kid is different. But you start out, so that would be... as a senior, I'd say it's a different conversation.
Yes.
And everyone parents differently.
Yep.
At 8th and 9th grade, when those kids are starting out in high school, you have to be really clear with the boundaries. So, boundaries are important. And I really do believe leading with kindness is the way to do things these days.
100%.
In general, everywhere.
100%.
Role model, right?
Do it.
We also, show kindness and they in turn will be.
And if you say something wrong, you need to apologize to your kid. And vice versa, we need to teach them to apologize.
Yes.
Because I think that's big.
And knowing how to apologize. I had a principal once, y'all, tell me if y'all agree with this, and I know we need to wrap pretty soon, but I loved it. I was a middle school counselor. He was an exceptional middle school principal. And I watched him do restorative work with a kid one time. We call that restorative practice, right? And you've heard that. Mm-hmm. But he said to the kid, I want you to apologize, but I'm going to teach you how. And so I learned this from him. He said, I want you to say, I'm sorry for, and then you fill in the blank. Y'all have probably done this, for, breaking the pencil and throwing it at the kid in class. This was, a school example. And I want you to say what you would have done differently. Next time I would not break that pencil, nor would I throw it at the person. And then here's the key. Wait for it. Will you forgive me? And that was the nugget that I took. And believe it, when I really mean I'm sorry, I'm following up with, even if I skip all that middle part, will you forgive me?
I love it.
I know, Eric Haug, you rock star principal.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Tough job. Yeah, and the thing to never do is say, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Or I'm sorry, but.
Yeah.
Both sorry, but I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, but I don't remember. Remember that one? Yeah. Sandra schooled me on that one. Boy, I can't wait till she comes home because I'm going to apologize different.
Okay,
I'm going to go back to her and
all right,
tell her that.
What are nuggets today? Clear boundaries.
Clear boundaries. Don't be a martyr.
Don't be a martyr.
Parents, if you've done things wrong, we all have. It's okay. Just move on.
Move on.
Don't guilt yourself. And then have the tough conversations.
Tough conversations.
They hurt. They're uncomfortable.
Yes.
But let's do them.
And if you're in burnout, take a time out for yourself.
And a Tylenol.
Yes.
And a Tylenol. I'm going to say that.
Oh my gosh. Wine and time. It heals everything. Yes.
Good one.
Do we have any questions?
Sandra,
we had one that was, I don't know, kind of silly, but
we forgot our jar guy.
I know. Just if your kids were going to give you a Yelp review.
Oh, yeah.
What category would it fall under?
What does that mean? I don't know.
Like, for example, if they're going to review you, would they review you on your food? Would they review you on your
clothing,
your parenting, your discipline?
Oh,
okay. I thought, do you get 5 stars or like, can you do that too? Okay.
Well, you can do that.
Okay. Well, I would say if they were going to review me and my cooking skills or lack thereof.
Okay, I was right there.
I may have made the same thing for 30 years straight.
Oh, wow.
Like the same
Every
rotation
Monday.
of dinners?
Yeah, I'm not that creative. So I may get a star or 2 on that.
That's funny. Ditto.
I think I do okay on kindness.
Oh,
I think I get some good stars there.
Oh, yeah.
I might have had my moments, but one, I'm pretty low on the cooking. I mean, I did cook.
I was going to say I cook, but it's pretty mundane.
Okay.
But I think they're gonna nick me on my consistency. Like I can break down pretty easily. Like if you push me, I will give in, and that is not great. That's the tough part. That's
but you're human.
And my spouse comes in and he's the drill sergeant, so it's a nice balance-ish. But I'm gonna get nicked on the like, they know who to play. Mm-hmm. So I'll get a high rating.
Okay, that's
because
good.
I'm bad at it, so they know how to manipulate me.
I love it.
I think my kids would review me under 2 categories.
Oh, gosh.
One would be sarcasm.
Oh, you get 5 stars.
5 stars for sarcasm. And then the other one would be working out because they've taken that, like they're both into like working out, like almost like brushing your teeth.
5 on that one. All of us actually, we all get 5 stars on that one. But you're right. Thank you for reminding me that I think our kids will notice that about us.
Oh yeah, and they do it. They want to do it.
They do want to do
it. It just becomes natural because they see
and
it.
They eat great ish.
Yeah. Good. That's good to wrap us. We got to go because you probably got to go do yoga. Yeah. Thanks, ladies.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.